Hi guys! How would you like to get the best quality embroidery on stretchy fabrics such as knits? Stay tuned and I'm going to go over the best practices to use on knits, and I'm going to go over what I did to get really good quality embroidery with this textured type of knit. So before we get started, I just want to remind you that if you have any questions at all during the video, just leave a comment below and we'll get back to you. And I also want to encourage you guys to stick around to the end because we're going to have some hilarious bloopers for you all to watch. Alright, so first things first, I want to talk about the design and what you should be looking out for when you're choosing your design. I want to recommend that you choose light and low density designs because when a design is really dense, what it can do is cause loss of registration because the dense center of design is actually pulling the stretchy fabric in. And what this does is that it causes a gap between the border and the fill. Now you can accommodate for that in the digitizing by making a slightly thicker border. But I recommend if you have room to play around and choose what type of design that you want to embroider, that you go for a low stitch density design. Another problem that can arise with knits and dense designs is that the area around it can actually kind of like pop up and it looks like kind of like a patch. Also, it can look bulky and just kind of ruin like the draping of your garment. So you want it to still flow, so that's why I would choose lighter fills. So typically on knits, I recommend choosing a more open design, but for this type of knit, since it's very textured, I wanted it to show up more and pop out more. So I chose a filled design, but as you can see, it's very simple fill and it's not too dense, so it's not going to cause any of that puckering or loss of registration. So typically on knits, I would recommend using a ballpoint needle. However, for this type of knit, it is a tougher knit, so I was able to use my standard 7511 sharp needle with absolutely no problems. However, if you are going to use a lighter knit, then I do recommend using your ballpoint needle. Also, if you want to get in with small details and intricate designs, then go ahead and go one size down and use your 7010 ballpoint needle. Alright, so now let's talk about backing. I always recommend using cutaway backing for all of your stretchy fabrics and your knits because it does provide the most support. As you can see, this doesn't stretch at all. So you are going to get a lot of support and it's going to help stabilize your garment so that you don't have any of that unwanted pinching and puckering. So in some instances, you're not going to want to use cutaway and you'd rather use tearaway because you don't want it showing, or maybe you're embroidering a knit beanie and you don't want it showing on the hat. And that's okay, but if you are going to use tearaway, I definitely recommend doubling up on backing, maybe even tripling up on backing, because tearaway just doesn't have the support that cutaway does have, so it will be more prone to getting that unwanted pinching and puckering. Also, if you are going to use tearaway, I recommend using a very simple design, nothing too heavy, because you definitely want the tearaway to be able to support the amount of stitches that you are going to embroider on your garment. So for this particular garment, I used 2 sheets of cutaway backing, and as you can see, it worked fine and I don't have any backing showing through the front of my garment. However, if you're going to be using a lighter knit, I definitely recommend going for a no-show poly mesh that is also a cutaway, so it will provide the same support, but it's going to be a lot softer, so it's not going to show through your garment as much. I also recommend using temporary adhesive spray, and that's going to help secure the backing to the garment so that it's not moving around when the needle penetrates through. I'm going to tell you guys about my trick, okay? So we ran into a little issue when we left the machine unattended, which you're not supposed to do, but we left the machine unattended and we had put 2 sheets of backing and then we put 2 sheets of water-soluble stabilizer on top. You can also use 1, but point is we put 2 sheets and it just kind of bunched up into like one whole blob. And it looked awful and it kind of ruined our design, so definitely don't do that. I'm going to show you my little trick that worked wonderfully. So if you're one of those multitasker embroiderers, which you shouldn't do because you don't want to ruin your designs, but you know, if you want to try this, I'm going to put 2 sheets of tape right here on top of the aqua top, or you can also hoop it inside. It's really a matter of preference. You can hoop it with the aqua top, but if not, then use the tape method and it really works. All right, so since this is a textured fabric, you want to use your aqua top topping, or your Solvay, whatever water soluble stabilizer you use. So I'm gonna put it on top. And like I said before, we had an issue where we turned around and then it bunched up. So for that not to happen, hoop it inside. Sometimes you don't need to, but for some certain designs you should. Hoop it with it, or you can do what I did, which is I literally just applied a small little bit of tape on the ends. I didn't stretch it out too much because I didn't want any like issues. So don't stretch it too much, just leave it as is and just apply a little bit of tape, and then you won't worry about it moving around. Also, if you forget to hoop it, this is a good hack. All right, so I have insert my hoop, I have traced my design, and I'm ready to go. Now, I just wanted to point out that I am going at 700 stitches per minute rather than my usual 800 with flats, and that's because it is thicker material, so I want the design to still show up really well. So I'm ready to go. I'm just gonna go ahead and press start. All right, so I finished my embroidery and I cleaned up off camera. Now, all I needed to do was remove the backing, which I cut away, and then I removed the topping. And to remove the topping, I just tore it away, and then the little excess that was left over, I sprayed with water, or you can also use snips to kind of clean up around. So without further ado, I want to show you guys the finished product. It's so cute. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I also want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button below and to subscribe to our channel. I also want to invite you to our Facebook group, Embroidery and Custom Apparel Mastery, where you can join other embroiderers and myself and ask any questions that you have, and also share your knowledge and share your pictures with us. So the link to the group is in the description below. Again, if you have any comments, let me know. Bye. In the embroidery process. There's dust. Okay. No, 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 no. Sorry, okay. As you can see, I forgot. Okay. I think I said a lot. I think I said a lot of things.
Oh, you definitely said a lot.
Feels like a cloud of red love and happiness. Boom, finally done. All right.